He has taken part in 14 expeditions for 22 years in Vietnam, exploring 250 kilometers of previously unmapped caves throughout the country. He was among the first to discover the value of Phong Nha Kẻ Bàng and quietly contributed to UNESCO's recognition of Phong Nha Kẻ Bàng as a World Natural Heritage Site. In 2006, his team received certificates from Quang Binh Committee in appreciation of their work for the people of Quang Binh. In 2009, he led a team of 10 cavers to discover Sơn Đông Cave, which was later classified as the world's largest cave by British Cave Research Association and selected as one of the most beautiful subterranean sites on the globe by BBC News. He is Howard Limbert, a member of the British Cave Research Association.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Talk Vietnam. As you've just seen in our introduction, our guest today is Mr. Howard Limbert, and he has had a passion and a special connection with Vietnam for more than over 20 years through cave expedition and his exploration of the wonderful cave system here in Vietnam. Now, we're very lucky to have him here in our studio today to talk more about his exploration of the Phong Nha Kẻ Bàng cave system in Quang Binh province and more stories as well. So please join me in welcoming Howard Limbert.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Howard, for joining us today. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
You've been caving in many countries across Mexico, Australia, parts in Europe, as well as New Zealand, many other parts. How did you come to enjoy caving, and when did you start?
I started quite young, really. When I was at school, I was 15 years of age, and I was given the opportunity of either doing athletics and cross-country running or going on outdoor activities, which included going caving, going climbing, going sailing. And I thought that was a far better opportunity than going running, so I took up caving. And we went caving in the Yorkshire Dales in England, and I was hooked on it. And the first cave we went in, I thought it was fascinating because not many people had been in these places. I thought it was very, very interesting. So I then joined a pothole club, a caving club in England, and I continued caving regular. It used to be once a week, and then it went twice and 3 times a week.
Become
and
a lifelong passion, basically.
just hooked on going caving, yeah.
And now talking about Vietnam, you came to Vietnam first in 1990, and ever since then you've made around 14 caving expeditions in all. How did you come to Vietnam? How did you come to discover about the caves in Vietnam?
I was always interested in it. I've always been looking around the world for different countries to visit because I love travelling, and I've been to Mexico, Borneo, and myself, my wife and many of our friends really wanted to go to Asia to go caving. So I wrote to a number of universities. I wrote to one in Laos, one in Burma and one in Vietnam, and we got a very positive response from Hanoi University of Science, and so they invited us along, and so we came across in 1990 as the first team that's ever been caving in Vietnam, and so we came across 10 people, joined with Hanoi University of Science.
Yes, tell us about this first expedition in conjunction with the Hanoi University of Science. Where did you go? What did you discover?
Well, when we came, we knew very little about Vietnam because nobody had ever been to Vietnam, and certainly we had no idea of the geology. And Hanoi University of Science had geologists, which was a massive, massive benefit. And they came up with an itinerary, a plan of where we should visit. So the first place we ever visited was the Key Bang National Park. It wasn't a national park in those days, but that's the first place we visited because, again, we were very, very lucky in that 2 members of the university were born in Quang Binh, and they knew and heard of caves such as Phong Nha Cave.
Tell us about the first expedition there.
Our first expedition was in 1990. When we got down to a village called Phong Nha Village, we went in a boat and they took us into the now famous Phong Nha Cave. Many, many local people had lived in Phong Nha Cave in the entrance during the American War. But we went further in the cave than anybody had ever been before. And we explored this cave for 8 kilometers, a huge river cave. It was the most exciting, most tremendous cave we'd ever visited in our lives. Wow. And it still is a wonderful cave, is Phong Nha. It's a very, very beautiful cave.
And now this Phong Nha cave is very popular now here in Vietnam. Now, after the first visit, Howard and his team were able to explore Phong Nha cave and uncover many of the wonderful features and values that were later featured in the Lonely Planet guidebook. Slowly, more tourists came here, and the Phong Nha Ke Bang National Park was given the World Heritage status, and that has helped to very much improve the lives of the people living in this area, and we'll see how in the following.
It's been nearly 10 years since Phong Nha Ke Bang National Park was recognized as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, thanks to its geomorphic features of considerable significance. The park has attracted a total number of 3 million tourists so far, creating jobs for 2,600 local people and contributing to raising the living standards here. Sơn Trạch Commune has become a perfect location for adventurous cavers.
Từ ngày có di sản thì ngoài cái việc bảo tồn ra thì chúng tôi đã đưa một số cái hang động vào để mà phục vụ du lịch. Thì do vậy là cái người dân địa phương được có việc làm, cũng như là triển khai một số dự án để bảo vệ di sản thì tăng cường cái nhận thức người dân và người ta hiểu rõ hơn cái cần phải bảo vệ di sản. Thì do vậy là thực sự mà nói từ ngày được công nhận di sản thế giới thì cái vườn quốc gia Phong Nha Bang là thực sự là có nhiều đổi thay, và đặc biệt là người dân là đời sống được nâng lên và cái trách nhiệm của họ bảo vệ di sản ngày càng tốt hơn.
No one can feel that difference better than the Limberts, who have regularly traveled around Sơn Trạch during the last 22 years.
So when we first came here in 1990, it was just a small road here and down to the ferry over the river and a few bars here. And we used to have to collect water from the river and wash in the river. And we had the committee room just here. We used to sleep in the committee room, and no Phong Nha tourists, nothing here at all. And one small war memorial over there, and that was it. It was more difficult then because we had to cook all our own food, do our washing up, and there wasn't much food in the market, so we had to bring a lot of food and sleep on the floor with mosquito nets and no electricity, no lights. Very different.
Everything's changed, but the bonds still last. Howard and his wife didn't forget to pay a visit to their longtime friend, Mai Hữu Nhường, who was the chairman of Sơn Trạch Commune when they started caving here.
Tôi không làm việc nữa rồi, vì tuổi đã già, tóc đã bạc rồi, về với đời thường, nhưng mà rất là nhớ là ông bà này, bởi vì tuy là sống rất xa, từ châu Á đến châu Âu, nhưng mà tình cảm là vẫn rất là tốt giữa Vương quốc Anh với đất nước Việt Nam.
It really was with his help over the first 4-8 years that we would never manage without it. Hanoi University, Mr. Nguyen, the president, we're good friends. We've known him for a long time, and we're really happy that we could help out in any way.
This probably explains why the Limberts have remained so attached to the country, and they still feel the mission here is just beginning.
You have been here since 1990, and obviously you've witnessed a lot of changes in this area since then. How would you say the lives of the people here have changed throughout the years, especially with the unleashing of all the tourists coming in the area?
Massively, huge changes in the lives of the people, especially in Son Trac, Phong Nha villages in the Bo Tak district. When we first came in 1990, the people were very poor. Very little food about, no electricity, no really good sanitation, certainly no good road systems, and now massive changes, certainly in the last 5-10 years. The biggest improvement I've seen is in the health. When we originally came, there was a lot of people very sick, and in fact quite a lot of people died when we first came in 1990 with malaria. Malaria was a big problem in that area. A lot of people went into the jungle, and they often contracted malaria. Lots of mosquitoes at the time. There were lots of bomb craters from the war, which was full of water, so a lot of stagnant water, so a lot of mosquitoes. But recently, a lot of work has gone on, and there's very few cases now of malaria. So massive improvements.
Exactly, and I understand that during this first visit in 1990, obviously you came right after a lot of people had passed away in the area because of malaria, and later on you had helped in bringing help. Is that right?
Yes, we did, because I work in the health service back in the UK, and my speciality by chance was malaria diagnosis, and I had quite a few contacts with doctors who specialised in treatment of malaria. And again, when we came on our next expedition, we brought a consultant haematologist who specialised in malaria, and we taught 1 or 2 nurses how to diagnose and how to treat. And along with a little bit of money from tourism that was starting to slowly come into the villages, that was hopefully going to be put towards a small health centre. And just basic education made a huge difference.
Back to more about the caves. During these different expeditions that you've been to Vietnam, about 14, you went with your wife and also your team, and you were basically able to discover many of the caves that people probably hadn't been in, like Phong Nha Cave. What are some of the other caves that you were able to discover?
One of the most famous caves that we found was a cave called the Hang Vom system, which now is a tourist cave, and they now call it Paradise Cave.
The Paradise Cave.
We discovered it from the inside in 1992. And that cave is a very long cave system. Again, like Phong Nha, it's very beautiful. It's got a nice river in, and that is a very serious cave. It takes a long time to get to the end of the cave. It takes about 7-8 days to get to the end of the cave. And in 1997-98, I came along with Hanoi University, and we explored the far reaches of that cave. And that was very exciting.
We learned that in the quest to uncover the beauty of the cave system here in Vietnam, that in 2009, Howard and his British caving team, assisted by the friends from the Hanoi University of Science, were able to be the first to explore inside the world's largest cave passage in the heart of the Vietnamese jungle at Hang Son Doong, or the Son Doong Cave. Let's take a look at this very amazing discovery.
Hidden in a deep jungle of Sơn Trạch Commune, Bo Trạch District, Quảng Bình Province, Sơn Doong Cave was classified as the largest cave in the world. The entrance to the cave was found by a local man named Ho Khanh in 1990. However, back then he was too afraid of the cave to delve inside.
Các hang động khác nó cảm thấy bình thường, nhưng hang động này khi này bước vào cửa nó là cảm thấy thay đổi không khí và người rung rợn. Vì lúc nào 24/24 lúc nào cũng có gió và sương mù. Đấy, cho nên và mình thấy dù nó móc rêu với dư tiếng gầm của suối chảy, cho nên khả năng là hang này sẽ hang lớn.
Sơn Doong to scientists, as they have no idea where the water goes in the first door line. The karst landscape in Sơn Doong Cave is an extremely complex and ancient one, with high significance.
How did you and your team come to know about the Son Doong Cave?
It's quite an interesting. We knew a large cave existed in that section of the jungle in Vietnam. The reason why we knew that is that we found a very large cave near Son Doong, and we knew Phong Nha was also a very large cave, and there was a gap in the map. So we knew there must be a cave, and we kept asking our guides, can you find us a cave there, because we think it'll be a very big cave. And a friend, one of our main guides, a man called Mr. Ho Khanh, he, as a young child, he went into the jungle searching for wood, animals and various things like that. He was very poor. I believe his father had died, so he was very poor, so he had to go into the jungle to survive, really. And he was caught in the jungle in a very bad thunderstorm, and so he sheltered in an alcove under a cave. While he was sheltering this alcove, he was just looking around, and he saw an entrance. Now, Hang Son Doong is not a large entrance. It's only, one entrance is only perhaps 20 meters by 10 meters, so that is fairly small by Vietnamese standards. And he saw this cave, And in this cave, he could hear a river. He could listen, he could hear a river down at the bottom. And it had a very strong wind coming out of the cave. And he thought nothing of it at all. He never went in the cave because it was a very, very steep drop.
This was when he was younger, obviously.
He was very young, but it was impossible for him to go down because it was a very, very steep drop. So he thought nothing of it for many years. And then he joined us on expeditions when we came. And I was asking him, do you know a cave there? Any cave that have got a big wind or a river? And he said, yes, I know a cave. I found it in 1981. And he searched and searched and searched, and he couldn't find it. And he went back by himself in his own time, and it's a long walk, 2-3 days walk to the entrance. He went back and he found it. And when we came back in 2009, he came to me and met me. I said, I found the cave again, would you like to go visit? I found the entrance. And so we went along, and there we are, Hang Song Dong.
Wow, so Ho Khanh could be considered as the first person to discover the cave entrance to the 2009 expedition. How did you feel coming into this huge subterranean space?
Well, nowadays we've got very, very powerful lights, and we can see many, many hundreds of meters. But Son Dong is just so big, even our new powerful lights, we couldn't see the roof. And we didn't know just how big Son Dong was. And when we found Son Dong, we didn't know it was the largest cave passage in the world. We knew it was very big, but we had no idea until we did an accurate measurement. And it's only when we did an accurate measurement of the cave, and then we looked up on the wonderful internet, and we found that it was the largest cave passage in the world.
A bit further, Jonathan.
For this expedition, they need to use a more sophisticated way of measuring the cave size. Cave surveying used to be a primitive process where everything was done by hand. Now, digital laser readings cut out the tedious legwork and provide precise measurements. They must survey every part of the cave, and every measurement must be exact to the nearest centimetre. When it comes to claiming the title World's Biggest Cave, it's length, height and breadth that counts for Limbert and his team. The laser sends a beam across to a designated point called a survey station, which sims marks with a small light disc. They measure distance, height and angle. It's painstaking work.
29.9 minus 3, 0.99. Left side.
The laser beam picks out the highest point in this section of the cave. It measures 100 meters. The Statue of Liberty could fit in here quite comfortably, with 7 meters to spare. The widest section surveyed so far is 103 meters. This passage continues for another kilometre. Room for a small plane to fly through the cave, or even a whole display team.
For someone, obviously not many people will have been, you are the only expedition team who have been in this cave. How would you describe it? I mean, I saw it in the movie. Americans would describe it with the Statue of Liberty. French would use the Eiffel Tower. But for our Vietnamese audiences, how would you describe it?
For a Vietnamese audience, very difficult. I don't know any large enough buildings, but I would say most of the skyscrapers that you see around Hanoi now, that will be the sort of size that we're talking about, the height, the maximum height of the passage. Yes. It's an enormous cave, and until you've been there, you cannot appreciate the scale. And what is really special about Son Dong, apart from its enormous size, it's got two very, very important, unique features, and they are these skylights. Yes. Along the Great Tunnel in Vietnam, in Hang Song Dong, are two skylights where the roof has collapsed. Many, many years ago, the roof has collapsed. Because it's such a large cave, it's just collapsed as a roof.
A lot of pressure on it.
And it's allowed daylight to come in. Yes. And what's amazing about Hang Song Dong, in these daylight sections, there is a forest, there's a jungle inside.
Photosynthesis has been able to kind of develop photosynthesis.
Oh yes, there's enough light comes in to find very, very large trees. In one section of the cave, which we call the Garden of Eden, there are trees that are 60 metres tall.
60 metres tall. I mean, obviously it's been there for a really long time.
Oh, yes.
Here is an area rich with life, a unique and unexplored ecosystem.
This is absolutely fantastic. It's a treasure trove for biologists. And everything that lives here has got here by complete chance. So birds have dropped seeds, plants have sprouted up.
And they must manage to flourish in a different world from the rainforest they came from. Here it's darker, more protected from the wind. The floor of the Dolin is made up of porous limestone rubble from the collapsed roof. Less light and little water means these plants have had to evolve new strategies to survive.
This species outside is evergreen.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
But here it's fall down the leaf in the winter, I think so.
Okay, so you think it's evergreen outside, but
yes.
it's deciduous in here. And so the young leaves, are those the red leaves? Are those young leaves? Okay, right. In particular in plants, their outer form is very variable. They can adapt themselves very much to their environment. So there could be two plants that are perfectly the same species, have the same DNA, but because they're in a different environment, they actually look quite different. That's the plasticity bit. So I think we're seeing an example of spectacular phenotypic plasticity.
Howard, we have some photos here of the different cave system in Phongmyarkerbang. Tell us about this particular cave.
This cave is called Ang En Swift Cave,
Hang
which
En.
we discovered in 1994. As you can see, it's a very, very large and beautiful cave. And you must go through this cave to get to Hang Song Dong.
Oh, okay.
The only route to Hang Song Dong is to go through this cave. You go through this cave, follow the river for about 2 kilometers, up, down, climbing, and then you get to the entrance to Hang Song Dong.
Tell us a little bit about this one.
Right. This is a picture that was taken by Carsten Peter, the National Geographic photographer. Really, really beautiful shot. This is in Hang Song Dong. This is one of the large underground dark chambers in Hang Song Dong. And this photograph took 5 hours to take.
5 hours?
5 hours to take that photograph.
Wow.
There's many, many people in there. There's probably 15 people with very, very powerful lights to light up this. And it's
5 hours.
5 hours to take a photograph.
Wow. And where in particular is this? Is this within the 5 kilometers that it takes to get to the Great Wall of Vietnam?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
Wonderful. And how about this one?
Yeah, this one is a very interesting one. That's my wife on top of that stalagmite there.
That's Debbie.
That's Debbie, yes. And the distance from my wife to the daylight there is 1.5 kilometers.
1.5 kilometers?
It takes about an hour, 2 hours to walk to the daylight.
Wow.
I know it doesn't seem far.
It doesn't.
This was taken with a telephoto lens, but this is a very large part of the cave, and it's amazing scale in this cave.
And a very interesting calcite formation as
Beautiful,
well.
fantastic calcite formation stalagmites. This one is one of the tallest, if not the tallest in the world. We've measured this at over 75 meters tall. That's very, very large.
And we know that Howard and his caving team for more than the past 20 years has received the assistance from the Faculty of Geography from the Hanoi University of Science, and they've been working together and developing a very great friendship, and we'll take a look at this cooperation in the following.
Today, Howard and his wife are visiting the Hanoi University of Science for a discussion ahead of their 15th expedition in Vietnam. The Faculty of Geography is a familiar place since they have been cooperating with the scientists here for the last 2 decades. Together, Vietnamese and British cavers have been researching in many areas of the country, including Hà Giang, Cao Bằng, Sơn La, Ninh Bình, Thanh Hóa, and Quảng Bình mostly, to gain a complete understanding of limestone areas and the country's cave systems.
Trong các đợt khảo sát thực địa thì các nhà khoa học giữa Việt Nam và các nhà khoa học về hang động của Anh thì đã đo vẽ được khoảng 250 km về hang động đối với toàn bộ lãnh thổ Việt Nam. Và đặc biệt một cái điều đáng ghi nhận là các nhà khoa học đã cùng nhau để xây dựng ra cái hồ sơ về di sản thiên nhiên thế giới phong nha kẻ bàng. Mục tiêu là nhằm giới thiệu thiên nhiên cảnh quan của Việt Nam với bạn bè của 5 châu trên thế giới.
Howard took time to recall the memories shared by the faculty scientists in the early days. Each and every picture brought him a different story about those who were with him on those unforgettable expeditions.
Nghiên cứu hang động nó gặp phải một cái khó khăn rất là đáng kể đối với người Việt Nam. Khi mà được người ta có cái ý đầu vào cái thì chúng tôi lập tức đây là một cơ hội để chúng ta tiếp cận với cách thức nghiên cứu hang động của người nước ngoài và sử dụng cùng với người ta đó cái hệ thống thiết bị, từ là khảo sát trong hang, từ là chụp ảnh, tất cả mọi thứ, và mình học đó được rất nhiều.
For the first time in the long history of cooperation, an official memorandum of understanding between the British Cave Research Association and Hanoi University of Science was signed, marking a new level of mutual support between the two institutions.
Với cái sự ký kết này thì chúng tôi nghĩ rằng trong tương lai chúng tôi sẽ tiếp tục hoạt động, tiếp tục cộng tác với nhau chặt chẽ hơn nữa để mà khám phá ra nhiều điều kỳ thú và bí ẩn của các cái hang động Việt Nam.
Now, as you've seen in the previous clip, Howard and his team are assisted by his good friends from the Hanoi University of Science, the Faculty of Geography. In our show today, we have the very honor of welcoming Associate Professor Nguyễn Hiệu, who is also the Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Geography, to join us and share her stories. And now, Dr. Hiệu is also taking the lead within the efforts to assist Howard and his team in future endeavors and expeditions. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Hill to our show. Could you please share with us about your current role in the assistance to Howard and his team?
Cùng Howard là cùng một đội, bởi vì là đấy là một cái chương trình hợp tác của giữa Hội hang động Hoàng gia Anh với cả bên trường khoa học tự nhiên, là cụ thể là khoa địa lý nơi tôi công tác. Cho nên là khi làm việc thì chúng tôi là trong cùng một đội.
How long have you yourself been working in this project, since the beginning, since 1990 or later on?
Không, thực sự tôi bắt đầu tham gia cùng với đoàn là từ năm 1997 sau khi mà tốt nghiệp, và cho đến nay là được 15 năm.
15 years, so almost all the way.
Nearly all the way. Yeah.
Yes. Could you please give us your overall assessment of the outcome of the project so far?
Các cái kết quả mà nghiên cứu về hang động của Việt Nam thì có thể nói là nếu mà kể ra sơ sơ ấy, thì thấy nó sẽ là một những thành quả rất là vĩ đại. Gần 250 km hang ở trên lãnh thổ Việt Nam được khám phá và đo vẽ. Thứ hai là khám phá được một cái hang sông dài nhất thế giới là hang Kerry, 19 cây số. Rồi phát hiện ra hang Sơn Đòn là hang lớn nhất thế giới mà trong chương trình chúng ta đã nghe ông Howard nói rất là nhiều. Rồi các kết quả đó là một cái phần rất là quan trọng trong việc là xây dựng cái hồ sơ di sản thiên nhiên thế giới phong nha kẻ bàng. Và bên cạnh đó thì cùng với đấy thì ví dụ Nhật đoàn đã cùng với cả kênh truyền hình National Geographic, rồi kênh truyền hình Kyodo của Nhật Bản, rồi tạp chí của National Geographic thì đã truyền tải những cái hình ảnh của Việt Nam nói chung và của các cái hang động, đặc biệt hang Sơn Đòn, ra trên 200 quốc gia trên thế giới và hàng triệu độc giả. Có thể nói đấy là một cái thành quả hết là sức lớn lao, và có lẽ là trong chương trình này thực sự phải nói lời cảm ơn tới ông Howard, bởi vì nếu không có đoàn hang động Hoàng gia Anh thì có lẽ những thứ mà chúng ta nhìn thấy hôm nay ở đây sẽ không bao giờ chúng ta được nhìn thấy cả, mà đó là ngay là tài sản của đất nước chúng ta.
Now we know that over the past year, the past 20 years, the Hanoi University of Science and the British Royal Cave Association have fostered a non-profit partnership. What about the direction this work is going in the future? Where do you see it?
Trước cái đó thì sau hơn 20 năm hợp tác như vậy thì vừa rồi đấy trường đã ký hợp tác chính thức, một biên bản chính thức ghi nhớ với cả đoàn hang động Hoàng gia Anh để ghi nhận những cái kết quả sau hơn 20 năm hợp tác và đề ra những cái phương án cho cái thời gian tới. Thế thì ngoài cái việc là đo vẽ khám phá những cái hang động và góp phần quảng bá những hình ảnh về Việt Nam mà nói chung và về hang động nói riêng đấy, thì sẽ có những cái tìm kiếm, ví dụ như tìm kiếm những cái quỹ rồi tìm kiếm những cái dự án mà liên quan đến hang động đấy, rồi liên quan đến những cái nghiên cứu ở trong vùng Castor để mà có thể là cùng với cả đoàn hang động Hoàng Gia Anh để có thể thực hiện các cái dự án đó để có một cái nguồn tài chính cung cấp cho để cái công tác nghiên cứu về hang động nó sẽ phát triển hơn. Thế rồi là ngoài cái việc đấy thì còn phải tham gia vào ví dụ như hỗ trợ đào tạo. Ví dụ như các em sinh viên hiện nay, ví dụ hy vọng như tất cả các bạn ở kia, các bạn ngồi nghe sau buổi hôm nay chẳng hạn, các bạn là rất là say mê muốn nghiên cứu về hang động, ví dụ nghiên cứu về địa chất, địa mạo hang động hoặc là nghiên cứu về đa dạng sinh học hang động thì chúng tôi sẽ cùng với cả đoàn hang động Gia Anh sẽ có một cái chính sách rồi là cái sự ủng hộ và đào tạo cho cái lĩnh vực nghiên cứu đó. Thế thì thực ra thì sắp tới đấy chúng tôi cũng có bàn với cả bên nhóm của ông Howard là sẽ có những xuất bản sách công bố về cái kết quả nghiên cứu hang động. Rồi vừa rồi thì tôi cũng có viết một cái dự án để xin thông qua Đại học Quốc gia Hà Nội để xin một cái dự án ở Bộ Khoa học Công nghệ để làm một cái dự án lớn về tổng thể về hang động ở Quảng Bình.
They're nearly half a kilometer into the cave. 20 meters ahead lies a powerful river. This river runs like a main artery through the first part of the cave. Even at its lowest, 10 cubic meters of water pour by this point every second. It carved this enormous cave, and the team will have to cross it twice. Limbert leads the way.
Oh, some evidence of a bit of water comes through here at times. A bit slippy on these.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see the river. Whoa!
Look at this. This is our river crossing.
Oh, then we're underwater.
Yeah.
It's life and death, really. So, I mean, it has to be right. Worst case scenario, one of these pops, you've got to back up. That's why you've got to put, make it as safe as possible, really.
In full flow, the river could sweep any one of the cavers off their feet. And there's another danger. If it floods, it could rise well above their heads, cutting off their escape route.
So have you seen in that clip, we can understand how dangerous it is when you're, exploring caves, not just the Sangdong, but all of the caves. Can you tell us more in your expeditions together? What are some of the dangers, or what are some of the stories that you've been through in terms of kind of braving through the roughness of all this caving?
Nói về những cái mà thực sự gọi là dangerous ở trong hang á, thì gọi là cái thường thường mà mọi người quan niệm ấy, thì có lẽ là nó hơn thế nhiều. Nhưng nếu nói mà ảnh hưởng đến có thể là dẫn đến cái nguy hiểm về tính mạng ấy, thì nó có nói chung là có thể nói là rất là nguy hiểm. Đây có thể nói là một cái loại hình nếu mà xếp vào du lịch thì người ta gọi là xếp vào du lịch mạo hiểm ạ. Như chúng ta vừa xem ở trên clip thì chúng ta thấy ví dụ ở trong hang ấy thì cái việc đi lại hết sức khó khăn, rất là nguy hiểm. Ví dụ như là các bạn có thể lúc mà các bạn leo lên những cái vách hang dốc đứng chẳng hạn, các bạn treo leo ở giữa trên một cái sợi dây thừng rất là nhỏ, treo leo ở giữa không trung, và tưởng tượng nếu mà cái sợi dây thừng đó đứt thì mình sẽ như thế nào. Hoặc là có những lúc thì chúng ta có thể là đi một bên là vách đá, một lối rất là nhỏ, và bên dưới mình thì là một cái vực rất là sâu tối om. Ở dưới tất nhiên là đá lởm chởm rất nhiều, bởi vì đấy là một cái rất đặc thù trong vùng Castor, rất là nguy hiểm. Rồi ví dụ như là trong cái hang thì ví dụ như đi ở Quảng Bình chẳng hạn, thì đấy là những cái hang sông, thì ở trong đấy thì có dòng chảy đấy, bình thường là phần thấp ở cái phần ở dưới thấp ấy, thì các cái dòng sông nó chảy tương đối là êm đềm dễ chịu. Nhưng nếu càng đi đến cái phần thượng lưu đấy, phần thượng lưu thì cái dòng chảy cái tốc độ nó rất là mạnh, và bao giờ cái địa hình ở trên đấy cũng là hiểm trở rất nhiều. Thế nếu mà anh bơi không tốt á, hoặc là thậm chí bơi tốt thôi nhưng mà với cái tốc độ dòng chảy rất là mạnh thì cũng có thể là nguy hiểm tính mạng, không biết nó sẽ lôi mình đi đâu ấy cả. Rồi đến những cái hang mà ở những cái vùng cao, ví dụ như lên Cao Bằng, Lạng Sơn hoặc là Hà Giang chẳng hạn, thì ví dụ có những cái chỗ nó những cái hố sụt rất là sâu, nếu lỡ mà tượt tay là tụt xuống dưới đấy thì không biết làm nào mà lên được cả. Đó. Thế còn ngoài ra thì nó có những nguy hiểm khác, ví dụ như là muốn đi vào hang thì thường là phải đi qua những cái khu rừng rất là rậm rạp, hoặc là những vùng rừng ở bên ngoài rất là khó khăn. Thì trong rừng thì thực sự là có rất nhiều những cái loại mà cái loại sinh vật nguy hiểm, ví dụ như là rắn mực chẳng hạn. Đấy, thì những cái đó tại vì là mình nhớ có một lần năm 97 để đi cùng với đoàn trên một cái chiếc xe tải rất là to, thì đang đi thì là một con rắn độc nó rơi thẳng xuống cái thùng xe mà tất cả mọi người đang ở trên đó, tất cả là chạy dạt đi. Đấy, rất là nguy hiểm. Rồi là vắt chẳng hạn, vắt thì rất là nhiều. Đấy.
Obviously, there are dangers even outside on your way, on your journey to the cave, as he mentioned, with the snakes and everything like that. And there were times where you were both on an expedition and you got stuck in the cave for 2 weeks at a time.
No, not stuck in the cave.
Long.
No, we had a great expedition in 1997 with Mr. Heo. I was down Kyrie, which is the longest river in the cave in the world, and I've been down the cave for 16 hours, and I came out very tired, and I got to the surface, and I was waiting for Mr. Heo to come back, and I could see him coming through the jungle, and I thought, oh, he's by himself. That's no problem. I wonder where my friends are, but Heo's coming. He must be fast. And I came, I said, are you okay, Heo? And he comes, no, we've got a problem. We've got a big problem. And unbeknown to us, it had rained very heavily in Laos, and the water levels had rose very, very quickly.
And this is a river cave.
A river cave. And I had 2 colleagues of mine went down a river cave, and Heo had to walk all the way back, a long walk, about 8 hours back, to come and inform us. We'd run out of food, we had no spare light, we were really, really tired. It was the end of the expedition, and we had to walk back in the middle of the night, 6-8 hours walk, really difficult. And the cave was flooded, and my friends were trapped for 57 hours.
57 hours?
Yeah, we built a big dam, and slowly the water went down, and we finally got them out. And we were so hungry when we got out. The people were trapped in the cave. When they came out, they had some food, and we stole their food because we had no food for about 3 days.
That's amazing. These are basically life-threatening.
Yeah. But có thể nói là lúc đó rất là may mắn, bởi vì là cái chỗ hang mà người ta bị lụt ở trong hang ấy, là nó có 2 cái nhánh, cho nên là khi mà cái nhóm của ông Hoát vào cứu hộ là người ta đắp một cái đập chặn vào một bên, cho nên nước nó vẫn còn một bên để nó chảy, thì cái bên kia nước nó mới rút xuống thì người ta vào mới cứu được.
A dam on one side and one side to release the water. Basically.
Yeah, we tried to divert the water.
Now, I know that today here you've brought some equipment that are very handy and are the most essential to help you in your caving expedition. So can you please show us?
Yeah, sure. We found quite a lot of vertical drops in Vietnam, some 200 meters deep, and it's impossible for the local people or any of the Vietnamese really to go and descend down these drops. But with modern equipment that we possess, we're able to do that. And this is just a small example of some of our equipment. This is our harness that we can actually get in. We can sit in this harness.
Okay.
But if there's any vertical drops, you need to be able to descend the rope by abseiling. And we have devices such as this. These are friction devices. And they slow you down so you can slowly descend the rope. And when you get to the bottom, you've often got to go up again. So you need devices such as this. And I'll just give you a little example. Mr. Heo, can you just hold that for me? If that was a rope, imagine that was a rope, I can clip this to the rope, attach it to the rope, it will go that way, but it will not go that way. So if I attach them to me, I can climb slowly up the rope.
But it doesn't slide down.
It doesn't, not all the time, it doesn't slide down. Sometimes, but not always. If they're new and very clean, they're very, very good. So we use these ascenders to climb the rope. And in Vietnam, we have got over 1,500 meters of rope, because there are many, many vertical drops we're finding. And so we use a lot of rope. As well as that, we use other specialist equipment like drills. Because we have to drill holes into the rock for anchors.
Create bolts as well.
Correct.
In order to,
yeah.
like the Great Wall of Vietnam, you
Correct.
needed boats in order to climb that.
To climb that wall, we use a lot of drill power, bolts, and then we clip into the bolt and slowly climb up. But that was quite difficult, was the Great Wall, because unlike many parts of cave, which is very, very solid rock, on the Great Wall of Vietnam, it was very, very soft rock, and they kept breaking and falling out. That's why it took us 2 days to climb the wall.
Exactly.
It was quite a long time, quite hard work.
Now we know the preservation of the values of natural heritages in Vietnam, as well as in the world, is very important. And with what you've found here, it presents so much potential. And there's going to be a lot of more tourism coming to the area. But how do you balance between tourism and the natural preservation side of it?
I know Vietnamese people like to explore, they like to climb, they like to look at things, but you've got to educate people that these things are precious and they can't be replaced. So if you take things or damage them, they will take millions of years to repair. This is very important to put across to the public, that these caves are very, very fragile environments, extremely fragile. So it's important they are preserved and conserved. And I do believe they're doing a very, very good job compared with some other countries who are not doing excellent jobs. Vietnam is trying its best, it's doing very good. I've seen excellent results in Phong Nha. Paradise Cave, they've done a superb job, very, very good job there. And it's all special lighting that doesn't cause problems. So they're making big, big efforts, and long may it continue. And I believe it will, because Vietnam understands these things and follows these. And I believe Vietnam will follow these rules and regulations that have been set up, and conservation will happen.
Thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you all of the best in your future endeavors to bring more interest in terms of research and exploring these wonderful the cave system here in Vietnam.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that was our edition of Talk Vietnam today with Howard Limbert and Dr. Nguyễn Thiệu from the Hanoi University of Science. We hope that you've opened your eyes on more about the story behind the wonderful cave system we have here in Vietnam, and that you one day will have a chance to visit the Phong Nha Cái Bang system if you haven't. Thank you very much, and we'll see you more next time here on Talk Vietnam.